Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. What's going on? Hope you're having an amazing start to your week. Got my Switch Squad hoodie on. I got my Happy Co hat. This is like such a cool, you guys are, those are gonna be a convention. We got some cool stuff coming. I've been the test subject of all the cool swag that we're trying out with this new swag vendor. I know we had a couple issues with the swag vendor, but man, they've got some cool stuff that they're pumping out. What do you guys think of this hat? Put a 5 in the comments if you got a Switch Squad hoodie already coming your way, or if you got one already. What's going on? Let me know where you're watching from. Amanda McDonald over in Texas. Washington's in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you. Excited to be with you this evening. Got a fun call. Got a quick call tonight. Got a quick talk tonight. Only got 2 pages of notes. Colorado's in the house. What's going on? As always, I'm out here on the East Coast in Pennsylvania. Ohio's in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you. Make sure you guys take this next minute. Drop a chat to everyone in your teams. Let them know. Mindset Monday has started. We are rocking and rolling. We're not going to be going long tonight. We're going to be covering the second law, chapters 8, 9, and 10 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. The second law, which he says, make it attractive. Make it attractive. Candy, I know Candy's so jealous of this hat. Candy wants this hat so bad. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. This is, it's just kind of some of the perks. There's Candy. What's going on, Melissa up in Canada? Good to see you. But if you remember, in chapter 1, we covered the first law, which was make it obvious when we're talking about atomic habits. Chapter 2 tonight, we're going to be talking about the second law, which is make it attractive. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to talk about this, really mainly because so much of this chapter talks about the dopamine feedback loop. And what a great thing to be focused on, the dopamine feedback loop in our own bodies, representing a company that is primarily focused on increasing your dopamine. I thought it was so great. So this is going to be a great chapter to cover this evening. But if you're just hopping on, let me know where you're watching from. It's so good to see all of you guys getting on here this evening. And very excited to cover some of this, the topics of this book, because I think that, Pia, it is. It's so great. And do me a favor. Let me know. Put a 5 in the comments if you're reading along with me, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Put a 3 in the comments if you are just checking in and hanging out and getting some little nuggets where you can grab them. Let me know. Are you reading it? Are you listening to it? Or are you just checking in with us to get a little bit of knowledge when you can get it? Because I'll tell you what, I'm getting knowledge from this, and I'm just grateful that I have the ability to give it back to you guys, to give it to each and every one of you. Texas, what's going on? Good to see you. Appreciate you being here, listening, highlighting when I can. Yep, for sure. So again, take this last second, 30 seconds. We're getting started here. Let people know that we are going, and this is the place to be for the next 25 minutes or so. We're not going to go too long tonight. What's going on, Erica? Good to see you. Tammy, read half already. I love it. I love it. And this is an easy read. But the fun thing about these books and every personal development book is what can we take about it and apply into our everyday lives, right? What can we take from this and apply into our everyday lives? Because it's so simple to just read a book and go, man, that was so great. There's so many great tips and tricks, so many great topics. And man, that one good story about the animals and the birds and how they, responded to things and the mice and how they, oh man, that was so eye-opening. It was so, what I like to do again is yes, listen to it, but then like Pia, rereading every chapter and taking notes on how I can apply. I'm taking multiple pages of notes every single week on this book. And I hope that you guys are able to pull some from it. Yes, sometimes my notes are scattered. And of course, I'm scattered. I got ADHD, buckle up. I'm not diagnosed with it. So anyone that's actually diagnosed with it, I'm just scatterbrained. But let's get into it. Chapter 8, 9, and 10, which is really covering the second law, which James Clear talks about. It says, make it attractive. Make it attractive. And he really starts off this chapter by kind of talking this group of chapters by talking a lot about how our brain is preloaded with a lot of responses, and a lot of those responses most of the time, those responses are not the best for us. So again, how do we, in this chapter, he focuses on how do we make our habits attractive? Because if habits aren't attractive, it's really going to be hard to be falling towards them. He talks about the human condition in relation to food. He talks about how we are basically still the same species that 50,000 years ago had to kill to eat. Talks about, 50,000, it was a hunter's mentality. When you killed something, you would eat and eat, you would engorge yourself because you didn't know when your next meal was coming. 50,000 years later, our condition has not changed. If you put us in front of something, we will overly consume it because that's how we're programmed. Now, does that mean that's the best for us? No, but we're in a world today where we have so much. It's not like it was obviously a long time ago, a lot more scarcity mentality. Now we have an abundance mentality. We have so much, but we haven't changed much. So it's about changing our habits. He says, if you want to increase the odds that a behavior will occur, you need to make it attractive. He talks about cravings and this thing called the dopamine feedback loop. And I'm going to read some of my notes here because I want to make sure I say this right. Habits are a dopamine-driven feedback loop. Habits are a dopamine-driven feedback loop. And we're going to get into this a little bit when it comes to temptation bundling and how we can really get a hold of these temptations in our lives and these habits in our lives. James talked about a couple different studies that were really focused on dopamine and why it's so important in our lives, why we really need to be triggering the dopamine in our lives on a regular basis. There was a study done with multiple different animals, but one of them was done with mice, I believe. And when the dopamine receptor in the brain was turned off for the mice, they lost all will to live. They lost all will to eat, all will to mate, to procreate. They lost all will to have any activity. They lost all will to do anything. And they eventually died when you shut off that dopamine receptor in the brain. So what creates dopamine? What creates dopamine? I'm going to share my screen because this is a really great, let me get this up here. Let me get this. This is huge. The dopamine spike. I love the science behind this. Love the science behind this. Let me get this up. Boom. So the dopamine spike. This is really going to show you multiple different examples of how you are going to react when you go through. If you remember last time we talked about habit stacking. We talked about the form of creating habit. It goes from a cue to a craving to a response to a reward. So if you look at this, look at A. Before a habit is learned, dopamine is released when the reward is experienced for the first time. So you do something, you don't know what's going to happen, you get a cool reward at the end, your dopamine is going to shoot up because you experienced it for the first time. The next time around, dopamine rises before taking the action. This goes back to this. If you're going to take notes here, anticipation is key, not fulfillment. The anticipation is key, not fulfillment. So the second time around, dopamine rises before taking the action. Immediately after the cue is received or recognized, the spike leads to a feeling of desire and a craving to take the action whenever the cue is spotted. Once a habit is learned, dopamine will not rise when a reward is experienced because you already expect the reward. I want you to think about that. I'm going to say that again. Once a habit is learned, dopamine will not rise when a reward is experienced because you already expect the reward. However, if you see a cue, now in example number 3, you see a cue. something that you expect. Hey, I know that there's a reward coming. And expect a reward, but do not get one, then dopamine will drop in disappointment. The sensitivity of the dopamine response can clearly be seen when the reward is provided late. So obviously in example number D here, you can see there is a dip in dopamine with an ultimate rise. So I want you to think about that for a minute. I want you to think about that. How does that relate in your life? He relates it to a thing called wanting versus liking. Wanting something versus actually liking it. The wanting receptors in your brain are huge. The liking receptors in your brain are much, much smaller. So the anticipation is huge because the want is so big. Once you actually get there, it's like every single person that you talk to that says, oh my gosh, I just wanted to become a millionaire. And then I got there and realized it wasn't everything. Oh my gosh, I just wanted this thing. And I got there and realized that wasn't really it. It's the anticipation in pursuit of, because the liking receptors in the brain are so much smaller. So he talks about temptation building. By linking an action you want, let me say that again. By linking an action you want to do with an action that you need to do. So this gets into our business building activities. Some of you need to include some temptation bundling into your life. So he gives the example, combine temptation bundling with habit stacking to create a set of rules in your life. So the habit stacking plus temptation bundling formula looks like this. Number one, after current habit, I will, habit I need. Number two, after habit I need, I will, habit I want. So he gives the example of, if let's say I really want to be on Facebook first thing in the morning. That's what I really want, but I know that I need to do some personal development. So my habit stack plus temptation bundling might be that when I wake up in the morning, I go use the restroom. So that's my current habit. And then I will include or introduce the habit I need. So I will use the restroom, and then I will do 15 minutes of personal development. After I do 15 minutes of personal development, I will then check Facebook. So it gives a reward, something that you want at the end of something that you know you need to be doing. And I know that this sounds simple, but when you see the dopamine, when you see the graphs of how your brain is actually working, a lot of you are putting yourselves in positions to fail. A lot of you are putting yourselves in positions that are allowing your poor habits to consistently have bigger rewards that are going to cue you, that are going to set you on the path and the habit to go down those roads for those rewards. Does that make sense? So when you predict an opportunity will be rewarding, your dopamine is triggered. So how can we apply this again? Everything comes full circle back to our business. Income producing activities, the things that we know we need to be doing. The things we know we need to be doing. What are the things you know you need to be doing every single day? What are those things? I would say that for anyone, part-time, full-time at all, your goal should be at least every single day to connect with somebody new. Every single day. Just connect with someone new. That's part-time, full-time. That's just connect with somebody. Expand your network, because I promise one thing that a lot of people get stuck in is I've talked to everyone in my circle. I know everybody. I've talked to them all. They all know what's going on. They don't. We need to consistently be expanding our networks. So these are some of the things we need to be doing. We need to be exposing these products and this opportunity to fresh faces every day. We need to be following up with those that we have expressed or shown this opportunity or these products to every day. And again, this is part-time or full-time. This is just what we do. If you have 30 minutes in the day or you've got 6 hours in the day, it does not matter. This is what you do. So these are the things that we need. How can we start to habit stack and temptation bundle around the things that we want? Now, this takes discipline. All of this takes discipline because it's easy to say this. It's easy to say, yep, in the comments. It's easy to say, I'm in the comments and I'm on board. And yes, I'm all for it. This is amazing. It's a lot harder when the rubber meets the road and there's a new show on Netflix or there's, some new thing going on in town or there's something else that there's a distraction. Your kids want you to go do something. It's another thing. Yep. You got Monday Night Football going on right now. I got to compete with Monday Night Football going forward. Are you kidding me? What I will say is that we need to as a whole. So one thing for me, I have been struggling with working out in the last week or so. Very stressed, a lot of stuff we got going on at work leading into convention. But at the same time, I love watching TV shows. I love watching shows. One thing about me, if you know anything about me, my brother is into film. I'm into film. I love watching movies. I love watching shows when I can fit them in, when I have free time. There's not a lot of free time in my life, but when I have it, you can usually catch me, binging some fun show because I really do enjoy it. Right now, I'm rewatching the show Breaking Bad. After reading Atomic Habits, made the commitment. My habit stack plus my temptation build is that I can only watch Breaking Bad while I'm working out. It's the only time I can watch it. Not allowed to watch it when I'm going to bed. Not allowed to watch it when I have free time in between my calls. I'm only allowed to watch it when I'm working out. So now when I go down, now I want to work out. Now I'm like, gosh, I want to go watch that episode of Breaking Bad. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to go work out. This is just one little way that I am applying this book into my life, into helping me create some of my needs, making them more easily accessible. So how can you find a way to implement some of your wants around some of your needs? Think about it. Get creative. Because I promise you, when you do, the last couple of days have been really fun. Like for real, you guys, like it is weird. It's a dopamine kick. I have wanted to go work out the last couple of days because I have gotten to do something that brings me enjoyment. So what is it that you're needing to do but not wanting to do right now? Let's say it's call 10 people. What is something that you want that you can give yourself on the back end of doing that? Something that you will not get unless you do that. It's different for everyone. I'm giving you my personal example and I'm hoping it's setting a light bulb in your head, but what is it? What is that thing for you? And I really want you to stop in this moment. I'm not going to brush past this. I'm not going to move past this because I really want you to think about this. What are some of those things that I want every day? Maybe it's just like 30 minutes of alone time, quiet time. Maybe it's sitting down with a good book. Maybe it's going to a good restaurant and having a good meal. Maybe that just really lights your fire. Maybe that kicks in your dopamine receptors. And the idea of going out and having an amazing steak dinner. Think about that. One more time to go over the habit stacking and temptation bundling formula. It is simply this. Number one, after current habit, I will insert habit I need. After habit I need, insert habit I want. Create a set of rules in your lives. Understand, like we talked about earlier, that the wanting receptors in your brain are much bigger than the liking receptors in your brain. It is the anticipation. It is the excitement that gets you up and moving. The destination is not always where all the excitement lies. It's the journey to get there. I hope this brought some value to your lives this evening. Well, this wasn't a very deep chapter. Of course, I can repeat the formula for you, Michelle. The habit stacking, and you can go back to last week's call if you want to go through all of our talk on habit stacking. But the habit stacking plus temptation bundling formula goes, number one, after current habit, I will insert habit I need. So number one, after current habit, I will insert habit I need. Number two, after habit I need, insert habit I want. We talked about this last week. I saw someone just post in the comments. Jim Rohn, he would always talk about this. It's about who you become in the process of your goals. That makes the goal so beautiful in its essence. Because if you were the exact same person that you are right now and you achieved your goal, would there be any progress? The beauty is in the destination. The beauty is getting there. The beauty is the road to the destination. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you this evening. I appreciate you so much. I'm getting so fired up and excited for convention. Got some huge announcements this week. I got the whole show flow right here. I'm just going through it. Oh man, I was going to tell you guys something. I almost said something. But if you want to be the first people to know about Destination Paradise, make sure you are at convention. Make sure, I'm not telling you anything about it here. You're out of your mind. But Destination Paradise, I'm getting done building out Destination Paradise right now. Oh my goodness, I am so excited about this trip. If you guys thought Mexico was something, buckle up. Buckle up. I will say this. This is the only thing I'll say. You're going to need a passport. You are going to need a passport for this trip, just like Mexico. There's nothing new, but if you are going to need one for this trip, and I cannot wait to give you more details in the weeks ahead. It's going to be so fun. But kisses back to each and every one of you. We'll see you on our amazing What's Up Weekly this week. Got some incredible news for you, so make sure you tune in. And we got a powerful Thursday opportunity Zoom this Thursday. Can't wait to see you guys all later on this week. Until then, bye for now. God bless.